Right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakal Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, salutations, and blessings be unto the hopeful elect, pushing his truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe, in the sincere hopes of being delivered in these last days. All right, this is the brother Yakanan from the GMS England branch, and as you can see here, I have this article taken from Wired, and it's entitled "A Neuralink Rival Just Tested a Brain Implant in a Person," and that rival, they go by the name, as you can see here, of Paradromics. All right, and it says Paradromics, a brain-computer interface startup, inserted its brain implant in a person briefly in an early test of its technology. Okay, so like we've been bringing out, you have a whole host of these startups developing their own beast technology, okay, and running these trials upon people, especially those that have disabilities, particular ailments that restrict them from living, a so-called normal life. All right. And they keep documenting, the progress that's being made concerning, fully amalgamating, the brain with this particular technology. All right. And, there's a reason why we here at Great Millstone, we are always making videos, these epistles, through the spirit, warning you of these, various updates and these advancements that's being made, okay? Because it's all heading towards the manifestation and the implementation, all right, of the MOTB, all right, spoken of in Revelation 13 and 16. And when that technology is official, linked to your bank account, all right, linked to, your person, on the grid, to the point where you're not going to be able to function on the grid without it, all right, life is going to completely change, okay? And that's why, again, we so furiously, all right, for lack of a better word, push and give you these updates concerning this technology, because when it happens, it happens, okay? When it happens, it happens. There's no going back. And we know that this is biblical prophecy, all right? Because as the scriptures tell us, let's get it right quick. In Isaiah, let's get the book of Isaiah 55 and verse 11, all right? Isaiah 55 and verse 11. Let's get straight to the point. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. All right? So concerning the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, concerning these prophecies, okay, they're not going to return to the Lord void. All right? They're not going to return unto the Lord unaccomplished. Everything that we go into concerning these prophecies, all right, as it tells us in Romans 15, and I believe it's verse 3, the things that were written aforetime were written for our learning, okay? So when we go into these prophecies, when you go into these things that are going to transpire in these last days, which we're living in the time of the last days right now, these things are going to be accomplished. They're not going to return unto the Lord void. They're not going to be unaccomplished. They're actually going to happen. And when they happen, they happen. Like I said before, there's no going back. So us as, Lord willing, men of the Lord, our job is to continually, warn you, All right. Our job is to continually warn you of these prophecies that are about to come to pass in these last days, so you can adequately prepare for this major shift, this major change that's going to materialize upon the earth. Okay? It really, isn't a laughing or a joking matter. All right? This is something to be taken very seriously, because there's going to come a time, all right, as we know, there's going to be a famine of the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, as spoken of in the book of Amos. And when that happens, you're not going to be able to access these epistles that we do through the Spirit. You're not going to be able to actually educate yourself on what's transpiring upon the earth. The time is now. Okay? And even when we go up a few verses, let's go to Isaiah 55 and verse 6. It says, "Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near." Okay? So now is the time where you're supposed to be calling upon the Lord while he is near. Okay? And how is the Lord near? The Lord is near via his elect men. Okay? Via his elect men that are on the highways and the byways, all right, preaching this word in truth and in sincerity. And also via these online epistles. Okay? That's how you seek the Lord, all right, by learning of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, by educating yourself through the Spirit in regards to what's transpiring upon the earth right now, and preparing yourself through the Spirit. Okay? Because we're living in the time of the end. We're living in the time of a mass shift that's about to go down. Okay? And you can see that because they're modifying the grid. Okay? They're changing the way things are done. Okay? Now let me go back to this article right quick. So again, the company, this new startup company, goes by the name of Paradromics. All right? And like we just read, they have officially, tested out their technology by connecting, their brain chip to a person's brain. All right? Now it says, Paradromics today announced that surgeons successfully inserted the company's brain implant into a patient and safely removed it after about 10 minutes. It's a step towards longer trials of the device dubbed Connexus. All right. It's also the latest commercial development in a growing field of companies, including Elon Musk's Neuralink, aiming to connect people's brains directly to computers. Okay. And by doing so, the wicked elites of Esau Edom are going to have full control over you. Okay? They're going to have full control over you. And that's the end result of connecting everyone, to this system. All right? And having everyone impaled with that MOTB. The end result is full control. All right? Now it says with the Connexus, Austin-based Paradromics is looking to restore speech and communication in people with spinal cord injury, stroke, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as ALS. Now, again, they always do this. They come, with the impression of aiding those that have, disabilities and particular ailments. Okay, that's the selling point. Or giving you, how can I word it? Giving you, superhuman capabilities. Okay? Those are the selling points. And that's what's going to draw people in. That's what's going to make, receiving this technology within yourself extra appetizing. Okay? Because it's going to come with a whole array of benefits that's going to so-called improve your quality of life. Okay? In hell. All right, now it says the device is designed to translate neural signals into synthesized speech, text, and cursor control. Paradromics, which was founded in 2015, has begun testing its implant in sheep for the past few years. This is the first time it has used the device in a human patient. All right, so you got to ask yourself, why all of a sudden, let's say within the last 10 years, all right, because I believe this company in particular, Paradromics, was founded in 2015. Why all of a sudden do you have an influx of all of these startup companies all pushing the same thing? Okay, all pushing the same technology that aims to do the same thing. Okay, you have to ask yourself that question. It says the procedure, so like it was tongue-tied there. The procedure took place on May 14th at the University of Michigan and was conducted in a person who was undergoing brain surgery to treat their epilepsy. The patient gave their consent for the Connexus device to be temporarily inserted into their temporal lobe, which processes auditory information and encodes memory. To implant the device, surgeons use an EpiPen-like instrument developed by paradromics researchers. Researchers were then able to verify that the device was able to record electrical signals from the patient's brain. Okay, and again, all of this technology that they're doing, all of these capabilities that they have, remember, it came from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, the Lord has given them the abilities to actually do these things, man. Just like Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai gave them the ability to make the ICBM missiles. All right, as it goes into in what's that, Isaiah 54 and verse 16. You know, I created the smith, you know, the waster to destroy, so on and so forth. Okay, so they get this power, these abilities from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai in order to actually come up with these you know, leaps of technology. But it's all bringing forth the work and the intent and the will of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, so that they're cementing their own grave, so to speak. They're digging their own grave. So it says there's a very unique opportunity when someone is undergoing a major neurosurgical procedure, says Matt Angle, CEO of Paradromics. They're going to have their skull opened up, and there's going to be a piece of brain that will be imminently removed. Under these conditions, the marginal risk of testing out a brain implant is actually very low, which that doesn't sound like low risk to me at all, you know. But anything for them to fulfill the you know, the mission at hand. Now it says the implant is smaller than the size of a dime and has 420 tiny protruding needles that are pushed into the brain tissue. And by the way, you know, articles like this and reading about news of this nature, this excites us. All right, for some of you out there, this might be boring, you know, just, you know, babbling information, and no, this is very exciting to us because it's leading onto biblical prophecy. It's leading onto us getting out of this wicked and demonic kingdom. Okay, so when I see articles of this nature, this excites me, man. All right, when I see, you know, advancements concerning the MOTB, because we understand prophecy. We understand that when this technology is manifested upon the earth and when it's made mandatory, we don't have much long, you know, in this kingdom after that point. All right, so that's what drives the excitement. All right, the faith that we have in these prophecies in Yahweh Shai ultimately. All right. Oh yeah, and you got Synchron too. You know, they got some information in regards to Synchron. Let me carry on reading. So it says these needles are electrodes that record from individual neurons. Similarly to Neuralink's implant, also sits in the brain tissue. By comparison, it has more than 1,000 electrodes distributed across 64 thin, flexible threads. Other BCI companies are taking less invasive approaches. Precision Neuroscience, for instance, is testing, and I think I've done videos on Precision Neuroscience. All right, that's another company, you know, that's pushing the MOTB. Now it says it's testing an implant that tests on the surface of the brain. And Synchron, which I've done videos on Synchron too, has developed a device that goes in a blood vessel and rests against the brain. Both of these devices collect signals from groups of neurons rather than individual ones. By having proximity to the individual neurons, you can get the highest quality signal, Angel says, or Angle says. Getting a high resolution signal from the brain is important for accurately decoding a person's intended speech. All right, and that accuracy means everything, which I believe is why they have so much different companies working on this technology. All right, which I believe really ultimately the technology is already perfected. All right, I believe it's already perfected. What we're witnessing now is really just, it's a circus. All right, just conditioning you to get used to the idea that this is a possibility in the very near future. All right, that's all that's happening right now. This technology has been done. It's been ready to go. All right, but that's all I wanted. That's what I really wanted to bring out in this video concerning that. Now, scripture-wise, I want to also go into Revelation chapter 14 and verse 9. All right, and again, like I said, earlier on, our job is to warn you of the coming of the MOTB. All right, because we are, the watchmen of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. So our job is to warn you. All right, and we have to warn you of the consequences of taking this technology. All right, and I'm speaking to you tribes, you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. All right, the Israelites. Okay. Now it says here, Revelation 14 and verse 9, and as you can see in the subtitle, the heading is Doom for Worshippers of the Beast. And it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture, into the cup of his indignation, which is righteous anger, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Okay? So taking the mark of the beast, taking that technology within yourself has grave consequences, has grave ramifications, man. It's not a light thing. So that's why we constantly make videos over and over again, updating you concerning the manifestation of this prophecy, man, of this device. All right. It is not a joke. It is not a laughing matter. This is literally a life and death, scenario that we are about to encounter upon the earth. That's why it's known as the time of temptation in Revelation 3 and 10. All right. It's not a joke. There's serious torment as a reward, all right, for taking the MOTB, man. All right. So with that, Lord willing, this lesson has been edifying. And until the next time, I'll say shalom.